Since Dale Earnhardt's fatal accident in the Daytona 500 earlier this year, the company that makes the HANS device head and neck restraint system has been deluged with orders. All this week, we're taking an in-depth look at the device, and today Ray Dunlap takes us through the manufacturing process.
You know, there are a number of different sizes, shapes, and designs when it comes to the HANS device, and each of those has to be made in a custom mold. Well, that process all starts out with a piece that is called a buck or a plug. Now, this is really easy to shape and make changes to, and once they're happy with the design, then they actually create the custom mold. This buck would go right into there. And in that mold, they can make a number of different HANS devices, and it all starts out with the first piece of fabric. This cross-type twill actually goes into the mold to make the outside of the HANS device look pretty. But the real meat of the matter comes when they take an epoxy and apply the next piece, because this is a carbon fiber material, and on the back it has Kevlar, which is used to make bulletproof vests. Now that is epoxied right in there, and then there is a third piece. Now this is a unidirectional carbon piece, and this really gives the HANS device the strength it needs in the direction that it needs it. Now all of these are epoxied together and then put into a vacuum-packed bag. Now those pieces then go into an oven for 2 hours at 160 degrees, and then a piece like this comes out. Now this is kind of strong, but it really is very rough, so they have to do a great deal of labor to actually trim these parts and get them smoothed out. Then the front half of the HANS device is then epoxied to the back half. And this is where the real strength happens. Once these pieces are put together, it goes back into the mold and back into the oven. Now it'll stay there for about 6 hours, and then it finally cures. And then out comes an actual finished product. Now this piece right here is ready for a race car driver to use and get ready to go to the track if he wanted to. But keep in mind that some drivers need a custom fit. And here's a piece that was just recently designed for Jeff Gordon. They started out by making a specific buck, and they sent it to the team, and they trimmed it up just the way Jeff wants it. Then they make a custom mold, and the whole process begins again. Now, it's important to keep in mind there's about 8 or 10 hours of labor goes into making each one of these, and it takes them 3 or 4 days to do so. But that work is all worth it. It could be valuable for a lifetime.